I'm going to assign you a couple parts that I want you to kind of demonstrate the SL of sloth, size, location, orientation, form. So we'll just be focusing on size and location. So you're going to use DimXpert and just the location and size dimensions to fully define a part. After that, we'll move into other exercises where we use geometric tolerance to aid us in that goal of fully defining a part, especially on more complex parts. These parts that I'm assigning are pretty simple. So as you see here, I have, as I said, a very simple part. And I'm going to come up to I'm going to go over to the DimXpert Manager tab and also the MBD Dimensions tab. I've already fully defined this one, but I'm going to go through the process of doing that with you in a second here. So the end goal is that when I click on this button here, the Show Tolerance Status, the part is fully green. And then that means that it is fully defined. So I'm going to delete this scheme I made here. Say yes, and then if I click on that, I can't even click on that button right now because nothing is defined. So technically what I'm going to do with some of these should be the size dimension, but for this exercise it makes some of this process a lot easier if you use mostly the location. Things like holes, you'll definitely use the size dimension on those, but even for like a width and height, I would use this location dimension, because the size dimension sets it to a width, and that just kind of gets kind of clunky if we're just using these size and location dimensions to fully define this part. So I'm going to click on location, and then just as you would kind of do in a typical drawing, we'll say I need to know my height of the part. So I'll click on both of these surfaces. Now if I wanted this dimension to show up on this view, I could just click, or if I wanted to show up on this view, I can hit the tilde button right next to the number 1 on your keyboard, and I could click on right and then place it. If I wanted to change that, then I can just click on the tilde key again and then change it from there. So let's do our depth. I'm going to pop out real quick to kind of show you what's going on in the DimXpert Manager. It's starting to, as I select these planes, it's placing them on over here, and you can click on them, and then it also places the dimensions with underneath those particular planes. And then when I click on Show Tolerance, it's starting to show green. Anything in gray is not even been addressed yet, and anything yellow is just underdefined. Okay, I'm going to keep on going using the location thing here. There is a difference between selecting your planes, but in this exercise it shouldn't make too much of a difference. So I'm going to place that there. Click this surface, that surface. And I'm kind of just plopping these in here right now, but when you're done with these, I'm going to have you do a e-drawing that you can submit. So you're going to clean these up a little bit so they're a little easier to read. So like that one, I'm not going to leave that in there. And then I need to know, this was defined by the distance from this back surface to this edge. But to get an edge with DimXpert, I'm going to click this surface, and then in this toolbar here, I'm going to click on Create Intersection Line, and then I'm going to click another surface that I need that edge to create that edge, which would be this surface here. Hit the check. Now there's a line there for you to dimension to. Click there. I need the overall width. And then if I click on here, it's still saying it's underdefined, and that's because it hasn't defined this edge right here. So I'm just going to click back on location, bottom surface, this surface, intersection line again, and click this surface and check. Now we have two dimensions that say 0.5, which is kind of unnecessary. But here's a thing you can do in DimXpert is take ones that share, see this dimension and this dimension share this bottom surface. So I can select both of them, holding down Shift or Control, right click and combine dimension. I can leave it as 2x 0.5, or having the dimension selected, I can come over to DimText and uncheck instance count because it's kind of pointless to say 2x in this situation. Now if I click on the show tolerance status, the whole part is green. So I'm going to look at this in terms of what would be the best position for some of these dimensions. This wouldn't be necessarily the best view if we're talking about just on a drawing. So I'm going to hit tilde, and go to right, kind of just place it nicely. It's not terrible about placing the extension lines, but I'm not going to get too picky about ones that overlap. That one looks good. We got that there. I can maybe throw that on that side. That one looks good. So now that it's not looking too shabby, I'll come up to Publish to eDrawings. I threw that on my other screen here. Let me bring this over and click OK. It's going to run through it, and then it should pop up with our eDrawing here in a second. So there we go. That's our eDrawing. So it's a fully rotatable drawing that with your eDrawing then made, your last step would be to, concerning the eDrawing, would just hit the save button and then save that wherever you can find it. I'm not going to save mine for right now. Close it, and then that's one thing you'll upload to me. And then another thing I'd like before you're completely done with each of these is either contact me through Slack and we'll do a Zoom, or use Studio and just do a quick little video of the part being fully green, and so I can see that everything here is defined and the entire part is green. So just give me a quick rotate around to see everything in green. I'm going to do a couple more here that I think, I'm not going to do the whole part like I just did there, but let me see if I can pull this up. There's a couple things I was going to show off here. I think this isn't one I'm assigning, but if you have planes that are in line and you want to dimension to them, let me see if I can find out where that one's at. Is that highlighting anywhere? Okay, so that's plane 7. I'm going to delete this right now and have a redo this. So let's do, so when you're underdefined, you'll see the surfaces that need work or some sort of dimension to fully define them, and there'll be kind of this purpley color over in the tree over on the side. So I click on that, we got gray and yellow there. So let's do a size location, or a location dimension on there. I'm going to select this surface, and then up here on the toolbar here, I'm going to create a compound plane. So that basically planes that are in line with each other. So I'm going to select both of them, hit check, and then I'll dimension up to here, and then place it. That should have done it. Oh shoot. So let's see here. Oh, I think okay, so I need to go from there, from the very top down to here, and place that. Check. There we go. Now we're fully green. And then the next one, I think there was, I might not actually have anything else. I think that was about it. Yep, just doing the compound plane. I've already covered taking dimensions, combining them. You can take away the multiple instances, and then a thing like a hole. I guess I can show you that real quick. Holes also have a similar thing like the different planes. If you have two holes that are going through, let's see here, let's modify this one a little bit. I'm just gonna top plane. Let's just take, come on, sloppy. Just cut a notch out of this thing here. Oops. Features cut. Okay, so say you had a hole like this where it goes all the way through, but there's a space between the holes. Let's delete that. Back over here. And I'm going to delete this one too. And you can delete off your things off here. Sometimes though it helps just to, you might get so bad it just works to start from scratch. Let's see here. So I'm going to do a size dimension. And I'm going to click on this one. And then right here, this is my compound hole. So similar to the compound plane, I select both of these and there's my compound hole. And then same thing with location. I'll go up to this one and it should select both of them. Yep. Place that there. And boom, another compound plane now because I did the cut there, and place that. So when I did this, it created a new one. There was still an existing, let's see if we can find that one. And that's what I kind of mean by starting over, is if it gets really complex. So there, I need to get rid of this one, but by redoing, getting rid of that, because I don't, regretfully, there's no way of like adapting this one unless I can click this. Where's that at? I think there was maybe a way I can do that. Nope. Okay. So there's no way of combining them or dragging them in there, it doesn't look like. So I'd have to delete this one and redo some of my dimensions to get this all to work. But so that should be enough information for you to be able to do the three I'm assigning. I'm going to assign them from the Engineering Essentials book from last semester. Once again, if you do not have that book handy, I will get you the drawings I want you to make, and then see what you can come up with, and keep in contact with me and let me know how it goes, and when you're done, submit them.